The official Thor: Love and Thunder trailer dropped last week, and fans went wild. We thought the trailer's highlight was Zeus flicking Thor's robe off and revealing a god's ripped physique underneath. But for fans, it was Christian Bale finally walking out of the shadows as Gorr the God Butcher. Fans had a field day on social media, so let's get right into it. First up, Gorr's debut blew away fans' expectations. There's one moment in the trailer where the God Butcher pulls away the curtains and you can see a skeletal face with glowing orange eyes walking out. That was the moment we knew Bale's introduction into the MCU will be something we'll be talking about for years. There wasn't a lot of footage revealing his motivations, except that he wants all gods to die, which is obvious, given his name and comic book history. Other than that, though, there's ample room for Taika to surprise us with what he has in store for Gorr. We think Gorr will go down as one of the most complex and scary villains in MCU history, probably even scarier than the Scarlet Witch, and fans seem to think so too. Following the release of the trailer, fans took to Twitter to express their excitement, and the tweets just kept on coming. Most of them had a similar theme. Christian Bale looks terrifying as Gorr, and hey, we completely agree with that. Several others shared that they were probably not going to go watch the movie in theaters, but ever since Bale's look was revealed, they're going to be the first ones to buy the movie tickets. But some fans were disappointed that Gorr's design in the movie wasn't accurate to the comic books, and that Bale's face is more marketable when it's not covered in prosthetics and makeup. While he's not completely comic accurate, which is a good thing and we'll explain why later, he's still got the makings of a god butcher, including the sunken eyes, glowing irises, rotten teeth, and a body that looks like it's covered in ashes. And speaking of ashes, what if Bale's Gorr wears the ashes of his family on his skin the same way Kratos does? That'd make him even more hardcore than he already seems to be, but it's just a thought. Anyway, now for the Voldemort comparisons and other memes. If you're a Harry Potter fan, then you must have thought that Bale's Gorr looks a lot like Lord Voldemort, right? Especially when he walks out of the shadow and his face looks like a skull with two gleaming orange eyes. If you told us that it was Voldemort in the trailer and that he's now killing gods across the MCU, we'd probably believe it. Twitter users even put Bale's face as Gorr on a photo of Voldemort from the Deathly Hallows Part 2, and it looked pretty awesome, if we're being honest. The only difference between the two villains is that Gorr has a nose. Sorry, Voldy. Fans also drew comparisons to The Dark Knight, where Bale played the iconic Batman. Harvey Dent tells Bruce Wayne that you can either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
And social media was flooded with memes about this, especially Twitter. And there's the image of Gorr looking like he's got a bad case of constipation. It's a single frame where he's probably mourning the death of his parents and his family, as well as being abandoned by the gods. It's a compelling image if you take it within the context of the movie, but the internet doesn't care about context, especially not on Twitter. So users posted the image with the caption, "Me after eating Taco Bell." And we found it really hard to stay serious because one of our writers found that meme quite relatable. It's okay, Maurice. Taco Bell doesn't leave any survivors. And hey, neither does Gorr. Up next, Taika Waititi promises the best MCU villain. Keeping the hilarious memes aside, the goofball director is absolutely sure about one thing. In an interview with AP News, Waititi discussed the premise of Thor 4 and was super stoked to talk about having an Oscar winner as a villain in his movie. Even though the heroes are a gang of misfits, including Korg and King Valkyrie, the villain will make our hair stand on end. Taika believes that Bale's Gorr the God Butcher is probably the best villain Marvel's ever had in the MCU, including Thanos, Killmonger, and Helmut Zemo. This might be why Gorr's design is more human-like than alien, allowing Christian Bale to fully flex his acting muscles. And now we come back to why making Gorr less comic accurate was a good thing. Gorr will avoid the Malekith problem. Bale's version of Gorr doesn't really have a lot of complexity to his character design. It's a simple yet very effective look, and it avoids a mistake that Marvel made in Thor: The Dark World. Christopher Eccleston's Malekith could have been a noteworthy adversary for Thor. He's a fantastic actor, and honestly, he deserved more. Malekith in The Dark World did look like an alien from another dimension, but the amount of prosthetics and makeup the special effects department caked on Eccleston's face ruined his performance. Seriously, it could have been anyone under the alien face, and we wouldn't have known whether it was Eccleston or some other dude. Malekith was basically a stock character in The Dark World, with barely any personality, especially because the actor performing the role had so much stuff covering his face. It ruined the movie for us. But Bale's version of Gorr promises that Marvel won't be making the Malekith mistake again. The simplistic makeup gives him a full range of emotions and expressions to work with, and you can see it for yourself in the trailer. When he says that all gods must die, his eyes and jaws are relaxed, giving it the impression that he's set in his ways and is unafraid of what comes next. And then there's the shot of him opening his eyes and mouth wide as though he's about to violently attack someone. The difference in the two expressions is so huge that it wouldn't be possible with prosthetics on his face to make him look like a comic-accurate God Butcher. Subtle line deliveries and nuanced facial expressions are what make Bale the actor he is, and hiding all that under heavy makeup would have been a bad move. By stripping his look down to his bare essentials, audiences will be able to connect with Gorr on the same level as Killmonger, Helmut Zemo, and even Thanos. Christian Bale was cast for a reason, and it's his ability to adapt to any role that's thrown at him. him. He can be a grounded Batman, a charming magician, or a terrifying villain. You just gotta let him fly. And judging by the fans' rave reactions to his debut, it's obvious that we're in for something special. And now for other news. Starting with, Thor Love and Thunder trailer spoiled a huge MCU death. Last week's trailer for Love and Thunder has kinda spoiled a huge MCU death that will come at the hands of Gorr the God Butcher. Keep in mind that this is just speculation, but we're giving a spoiler alert nonetheless. The trailer showed Valkyrie and Gorr going at each other in an epic battle, and if you notice the weapon Valkyrie is using to fight the villain, things start to make more sense. She's wielding Zeus's lightning bolt, and this indicates that either Zeus is nearby during the fight or he was killed by Gorr. The battle between Gorr and Valkyrie might be happening on Olympus, and maybe he's fighting Gorr using Zeus's weapon to protect him. But even so, the Greek god's death seems very likely, since Gorr is not someone you just battle alone. Next, early Miss Marvel reactions called extremely refreshing. Miss Marvel will drop on Disney Plus on 8th of June, and she's also set to appear in next year's The Marvels, along with Carol Danvers. But what are critics saying about her solo run? Well, according to early critic reviews, the series is extremely refreshing. It's a playful, fun-loving take on a beloved Marvel character. The visual effects sometimes rear their ugly head, but Iman Vellani's charm more than makes up for them. Critics are particularly happy with the lead actress's performance, calling her a perfect casting and a standout to Phase 4 of the MCU. The show also intentionally includes Kamala Khan's heritage as a Pakistani-American teenager, and critics are admiring its commitment to representing South Asian culture. Overall, the show seems like a breath of fresh air. Watch the space for our review when the show drops on Disney+. And finally, Marvel bosses last-minute changes to Doctor Strange 2. The Multiverse of Madness was the MCU's first true horror entry, but there was a hilarious cool scene between Earth 616 Strange and the exiled Earth 838 Strange. The two dueled by hurling musical notes at each other, and that's one of the ways the movie shows off its creativity. Composer Danny Elfman revealed that the first iteration of the fight involved many classical pieces going against each other. However, Kevin Feige came in the last minute and asked Elfman to simplify the fight between the two Stranges and Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. The result was a totally awesome fight, but we wonder how it would have looked if Feige allowed Elfman to keep the original fight the way it was. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. So tell us your reaction to Christian Bale's Gorr the God Butcher, and how do you think he'll differentiate himself from everyone else in the MCU? And are you excited for Miss Marvel's MCU debut? Tell us in the comments. As always, hit like if you liked our video, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future uploads. We'll see you in the next one.